Hi, so today we're going to talk about test taking strategies, and this is kind of a new application to the test being online as opposed to on paper. So, why do you think we need a strategy? Take a second and uh, talk to your partner, think about it, come up with a couple of reasons why you think we need a test taking strategy. Okay, so one, it's less stress. If we have a strategy, it means you know how to approach the problem. So when you get to a problem that's stumping you, you take a deep breath and you go back to your frame, and then you work from the beginning to the end. And you don't let an overly complex or what looks like a really long problem stress you out. Some of the really long problems really aren't as long as you may think they are. Routine. Once we get into a routine, we learn how to read the questions and we get used to what we see. And it just makes it all come back to being just a little bit easier and understanding what the question's really asking. Focus. It helps you stay focused. If you're thinking about your steps, then you're staying focused. You're not having a chance to let your mind wander. So it just helps you focus on the important parts of your question. And confidence. Having a plan builds confidence. You know how to look at these questions. You know how to read them. So it's not as overwhelming. Okay, so our goal should be 25 correct. Um, so our goal is 25 correct. If you're taking other tests, you can find out online about what your passing percentage is or how many you need to get correct to meet certain goals. So if you're trying to get commended on your STAR test, then you're probably going to want to shoot for closer to 40 or 45 correct. If you're trying to get meets grade level, then you're going to want closer to um, 35 correct. Okay, so a couple of things to when we're doing test taking strategies in general. Before you start, pick a letter of the day. Doesn't matter which letter, A, B, C, D. Um, and this is going to be your letter to use for any question you don't know. Now, if you pick B, then that means it's going to also be G. Um, and use this letter unless you have eliminated it. Do not randomly pick letters throughout the test. And there are some studies out there that show that when students randomly guess on a test, they guess around the correct answers. So you want to make sure that you have the um, that you just stick with the same letter. Keep in mind, this is mostly for if you're guessing. Okay, so ask for scratch paper. Sometimes you just need to jot down notes. Some of you may have been taught to do brain dumps. Everything you know, just jot it down real quick. Prokaryotes have no nucleus. Parasitism is the parties. The host is harmed and the parasites, the partiers, get a benefit. Um, just sometimes you just want to do a brain dump. Sometimes you'll be reading through the test and something will trigger a memory or a thought and you just want to jot it down. It's also a good place to keep a reminder of information you're trying to recall. It is not unusual to find information embedded in the test to help you. Um, and it's a good place to keep track of how close to your target are you. So on your paper, I draw 3 columns. I put a check on one column. I put a question mark on a column, and then a frowny face. The frowny face is the one where I am using my letter of the day. And then you should mark that one with a flag. I usually also mark my question marks with a flag just so I can go back and double check. Um, and I'll get to this again in a second, but do not change an answer unless you absolutely have information that will um, contradict what you had chosen. You do not want to just say, oh, that's too many B's in a row. Because on a computer-generated test, it happens. Okay, so in the columns, you just push a hash mark. So, ooh, I got that question right. Hash mark. Oh, I got it to a 50-50 shot. Question mark. I guessed. Frowny face. So you're just putting a hash mark. And you can even do that like after question 10. Just look at your items, and then you can count the ones you've answered, and then count the ones with flags. So when you're looking at it, a check mark is worth 1 point. A question is worth a half point. And your I guessed with my letter of the day is a bonus point if I guessed right. So we don't count that one. So your combination of the number of check marks and question marks needs to equal 25. So if I had 10 questions or 15 questions that I absolutely got right, and then 20 questions that I got to 50-50, 10 questions that I got to 50-50, so that gets me to 25. I think I did that math right. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the frames in general. So we've talked about the stuff kind of before the test and some generalizations about test taking strategies. So the frames procedure is the first thing we do is we find and highlight the question. And we'll look in here in just a few minutes, and you will see on a STAR test, it is always the last sentence before the answer choices. It is usually offset from the rest of the question. So find and highlight your question. Read your question. Determine whether you need more information. There's about a 50-50 chance that you don't need to read all the information above that question. Analyze the graphics. If there's graphics there, look at them. What are they showing you? What do you see? The M is make notes on what you know. And again, this is where scratch paper comes in handy because using the sticky notes is a little cumbersome and will slow you down. But even if you're making mental notes, think about what you know about what's being asked. E is eliminate wrong answers. And if you eliminate an answer, to truly eliminate an answer, you have to be able to say, why is it wrong? And then you select your best answer. Or if you have not been able to eliminate answers, then you're selecting your letter of the day. But we are hoping to be selecting all correct answers. Okay, so some things to think about as you take the STAR test. And this is true of most tests. Most tests you have usually close to about 4 minutes per question. I think the AP exams are a little bit shorter than that, but not drastically. I think AP exams are about 2 minutes. So this is, find out how many test questions are on a test, how much time you have to take it, and then you will be able to get a rough idea of how much time you have per question. So you have 4 minutes per question, which is actually a lot of time. So take the time to go through the questions again after you have finished them all. Really, you're looking at the ones that you were question marks or frowny faces. Again, do not change an answer unless you're 100% sure. Often when you're making a gut decision, your gut is correct. Unless you have reason, absolutely 100% reason that will to change it. Okay, so let's look at the test-taking platform, and we're going to go over how to use our test-taking strategies along with the test platform. So once you get to this website, we're going to go down here to the bottom where it says Practice at Home with an online practice test. Just leave everything as guest user and guest session. We are doing an EOC test. I am going to go look at the 2021 biology STAR test. There go. So here there's a couple of things to talk about. If you have auto text to speech or you have content and language supports as um, uh, allowed to you, then click those on. Otherwise, you can leave them off for now. The zoom, I don't use the zoom at all. The zoom is, um, there's a zoom tool inside the test, so there's no need to do it here. Color setting, this is the one area that y'all need to work on. And there are several colors. Most of y'all leave it on black and white. However, the black and white is too bright for the most part, and as a result, your eyes start getting tired and your brain starts getting tired. It's very fatiguing, and so y'all turn y'all's brightness down, but you turn your brightness down so much that then you have a different type of eye strain trying to read the test. So we need to find, or you need to find, which color works best for you. So let's look at the other color choices. And keep in mind, your proctors will ask you not to turn your brightness down too low. If we can't see what you're doing, you'll have to turn it up. The red on white is okay. The white on red, I find no. The light blue is slightly better than the white. The magenta, the light yellow, the yellow on blue, and the white on black. I just find the lettering and everything on the white on black to be much more crisp, so it's easier to read. And the dark background, so I'm not getting too much light through my eyes, so it doesn't fatigue my brain as much. It will also save your battery on your Chromebooks. Okay, so I'm going to hit select now that I'm happy with my settings. Begin test. Okay, so here's our test. And the test, let's talk about a couple of things. Up here on the left is going to be your items, and we'll come back to that here in a few minutes. This is the one we're working on. This is the next one. If we'd flagged anything, it will be here with the triangles. The triangles tell you you haven't answered it. Over here, we have a calculator that you probably won't use. You have a notepad. Now your notepad, you have 1,700 characters that you can write on your notepad. And what's on your notepad is available to you on every question. So I'm going to write, just for fun, I'm going to write, and it looks like it's got a true 1750 characters as opposed to counting spaces as a character as well. And I did the old words. So frames. So remember, we are finding our question, we're reading, we are analyzing our pictures, we are making notes on what we know, we're eliminating, and then we are selecting. And then you can save and close. If you don't save and close, it will go away. But then no matter what question I go to, it will be there for me. There's a line reader, so for those, if it starts getting hard to read, you can click on that. And then you can click on the line reader, go to the next line, and then go to the last one. And then click it off. There is the zoom in and out. And then over here on the hamburger menu, we have a mark for review. So if you have a question that you didn't know the answer to, and you just did the letter of the day, then you would want to mark it for review, just to go back and double check it. Sticky notes. Sticky notes are unique to this question. So if I had a question as to um, pretty much anything, or I just wanted to make a note to myself about something, then I would do it on a sticky note. You are limited to sticky notes, but once you get to a certain point, if you need more, then you can go delete a few. We have the highlight tool and we have the eliminate tool. So let's look at this first question. Which of the two systems are most likely interacting when a person experiences itching caused by a skin irritant? Okay, so we want to highlight our question. And then it comes down to, do I need to read more? There's about a 50% chance that you're not going to have to read this top part, whatever's above it. Sometimes that can be paragraphs. But you have about a 50% chance of not having to read anything more than just the question right above the answer choices. So if I know, and I'll use a sticky note here just to show you. So I know that the skin is integumentary. So I found my question. I've read my question. Don't think I really need to read more. I know skin is integumentary, and so there is probably my best choice, but we always read all of our answer choices. So if we look at circulatory system, circulatory and excretory, circulatory system is the heart, excretory has to do with eliminating waste. I don't think that has anything to do with skin and itching. So I am going to go to strike through. Digestive is eating something, but it said a skin irritant, not because of an allergy to what I ate, so that's probably not it. And then respiratory and lymphatic, again, respiratory is breathing in, so that does not sound like that goes with itching skin. So it looks like my best answer was, in fact, integumentary and nervous system. And so we have marked it, and we can go to the next question. And so the next question, highlight the question. Uncontrolled production of cyclins will most likely result in. Well, I don't think I remember what cyclins are, so I might want to read more. If I remember what cyclins was or what it did, then I might be okay. But I don't, so I'm going to read the top sentence. During the cell cycle, proteins called cyclins bind to the enzymes that send signals for the cell to progress through stages of cell replication. At the end of this cycle, the cyclins degrade to prevent further signaling for the cell to divide. So if there's uncontrolled production of cyclins, means we're going to have lots of cyclins and they're not going to degrade, or they're not going to degrade. They'll reproduce faster than they're degrading, so they'll be there. So let's look at our answer choices. The formation of tumors. Well, I know tumors is uncontrolled cell growth, and I know if I have uncontrolled cyclins, I'm probably going to keep dividing cells, so that might be. Immediate death of the cell. I didn't see anything here that the cyclins would cause the cell to die, so I'm going to mark that one. Transfer of cyclins the transfer of cyclins to other cells. I'm just going to count that one. And then the formation of haploid cells. Not sure. It's talking about cell division, so that could be it. So I have been able to eliminate it and get it to a 50-50 shot. And remember, our goal is to get 25 correct. If we can get our answer choices to a 50-50 shot just by reading and thinking through the questions, then we have a really good chance of passing the test. Um, but if we can get them to a 50-50 shot and then have our 10 or 12 questions that we just absolutely know, we have an amazing chance at passing this test. So I'm going to pick A as my letter of the day. And it does not matter what your letter of the day is, just be consistent using it. Anytime you're guessing, guess your letter of the day unless you have eliminated your answer choice. And I am going to flag it because it was just kind of a guess. And then I might want to come back and look at it. So let's do one more. Okay, so we start with highlighting our question, finding and highlighting our question, and then we're going to read what type of mutation is illustrated. Now we're going to analyze our graphic. So that analyze the graphic. Well, it looks like I have the original strand and a mutated strand, and mutation means there's a change, and they even highlighted the change for us. What else do I see? It looks like both strands have the same number of nucleotides. They seem to all match up except for this one. So let's look at our answer choices. Insertion. Well, if we inserted something, then one chain would be longer than the other. So that's probably not our best answer. Translocation. Well, I know trans means to move, and location is place, so that would be move places. But I don't see that it moved places. It just, one's different. So that's probably not our answer. Substitution. One took the place of another. That's what a substitution is. So that looks like it's probably true. It looks like a G took the place of a T. So let's look at the last choice, because we always read all of our answer choices. Deletion. That would make my strand shorter if I took something out, and we already said that they were both the same size. So that's probably not my best answer. And anytime you've been using the strikeout bar, you need to click off to make it quit so you can select the correct answer. Okay, so now you take some time to practice a few on your own and let me know what you think. Okay, so really quickly, let's look at just a couple of things real quick. If we go back up here to items, you can see I flagged question 2. So then at the end of the test, if I needed to come back and look, then I know that question 2 I still need to look at again. I've answered question 1, 2, and 3. I have not answered question 4 yet. So this is what this looks like, and it tells you what the flag is, or what all the symbols are. It's just make sure that you pay attention. It is very small up there in the upper left corner. So take some time, do a few practice problems, see how it feels. Have a great day, and good luck on your test.